about the 14th Amendment that I just briefly wanted to go over, and that is Section 5. If you look at the 14th Amendment here, and you go down to Section 5, you can see that we have it surge. Oh, we can't see it in that view. You can see it in this view, though. So, Section 5 states the following: Congress shall have the power to enforce by appropriate legislation the provisions of this article. And what this is telling Jenna Griswold and Sheena Bellows in Maine is that Congress reserves the right to enforce the provisions of the 14th Amendment, not states or state officials. I think that's a really important distinction as well that needs to be raised, especially in the Superior Court, when the GOP appeals this into the main trial court. And then I also wanted to bring this other issue up really quickly, which is that on the front page of Reddit Conspiracy, which is the conspiracy thread on Reddit, you have this image: President Trump with Jared Kushner and Israeli flags over all these officials. You got Steve Bannon over here. Interesting. These people are pretty pissed about the Gaza-Israeli war. Let me just... Got Steve Mnuchin here next to Jared Kushner. Was it Gary Cohn? Yeah, Gary Cohn. Right here. Stephen Miller. Right here. But yeah, okay, so my view here sucks. Let me change this quickly. And I wanted to live stream this again too, because it's something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about. And according to my anonymous sources, when they raised this issue with me personally when I was live streaming, I missed it. Right at the tail end there. So, why isn't this a bigger question in all these challenges as well? Because these states can go rogue, as you're seeing with Jenna Griswold and Sheena Bellows, and make their own decisions that are affront to the rest of the nation. And that's why the 14th Amendment reserves these rights specifically for Congress, to ensure that there's at least some fairness in how these decisions are made. And that's another reason I think what the U.S. Supreme Court is probably likely going to do is they're going to say that these are decisions and these are powers that only Congress has and not individual state officials like the Secretary of State is trying to hack who is on the ballot and who isn't on the ballot, which is setting an incredibly dangerous precedent given all this pre-programming about civil wars and so forth. All right. We shall wait a minute to see if we get any other news from my sources here. Other than that, I'll just close this down again and then we'll be back tomorrow morning. Apologize for the disconnected nature of doing two live streams really quickly, this mini live stream, just to talk about this one issue, but wanted to get it out. Ooh, we have another one here. Let's talk about this. Okay, let's see if we can actually see it on the stream. We can. This thread is titled, and this is from the Conspiracy Reddit. Right in time for presidential election year 2024, all blue states still playing the mask game. We were told this was a conspiracy theory that masks would return. And then there's a screenshot of a Newsweek article with a headline, COVID masks mandates return in California, Illinois, and New York. Now this is from December 28th at 11:52 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so earlier today. It's about almost 12 o'clock here Central. So about 12 hours ago, around noon, and I haven't read this. This is totally new information for me. Now, there's been a lot of chatter, of course, rumors that these mask mandates will return. And it is interesting that they're citing the fact that we have an election coming up in 2024. Now, I don't remember elections being this contentious growing up. I don't recall. I mean, there was always those October surprises and stuff, but I don't people weren't forced to go underground to avoid mask mandates by any means. There's 146 up arrows, 267 comments. Let's read a few of these. Dova Queen X in hospitals, which makes sense. There are sick people there. So is this specifically relegated only for hospitals in those states? Obviously, I don't think that's true. But this person appears to be implying that that is the case. Hypochondria is the real pandemic. Look, y'all, I'm not sure where I stand, but the headline of this post article is misleading. I'm generally against masking, mandating, yada, yada, yada. But that's not really what the article is saying. I am cautious too because YouTube will probably strike the channel, and I'm just reading these comments. I'm not giving professional medical advice. Spent the day in NYC yesterday. At no point was I asked or required to wear a mask. I saw some folks wearing them on the subway. But honestly, given how crowded the subways are, it's a good idea to wear them on the subway. Seems like every time I ride the subway, I get sick. Look, if masks are mandated in specific locations, I will do everything possible to avoid traversing on those, in those locations or through those locations, whatever. Now, there are certain things you can't avoid, of course, like if you have a doctor's appointment and they force you to wear a mask and you have to go see the doctor. Well, okay. But, I think they're testing. They're seeing what's going to stick in 2024. Mad World, Bad World says 4 hours ago, didn't some of these cities just try and ban masks because so many shoplifters were wearing them? Okay, and then someone responds this is for inside hospitals, Chicago and New York City. I mean, don't a lot of people already wear masks in hospitals, but they're trying to force everyone now that is coming into the clinic or hospital to wear one? Isn't, this gets complicated. Okay, yada, yada, yada. This guy's mad that people are not willing to wear a mask in a hospital, or at least commenting in that direction. This guy's like, who cares? No one wants this back. A few more comments. And Reddit's pretty liberal leaning too. They censor the shit out of everything. In fact, I had never really used Reddit until a week ago, maybe. And then my account immediately got banned. I made one comment. They immediately censored everything I said. This is like Nazi 2.0 here on Reddit. Zero mandates, he's saying. He's saying zero mandates. Okay. Talking about increased respiratory infections. I went out once and I caught that new COVID variant. I didn't do any tests or anything. This was a couple weeks ago. But I felt like shit for a good day. Now, I have a pretty good immune system, so it took care of it. But I would say 3 hours, 4 hours, I was like, oh man, it feels like the flu. Maybe less than that, maybe an hour or 2 hours. But I did have that cold, and you could see when I was streaming, I had, you could tell I had a cold based on my voice, but that was the COVID thing. The new variant that's spread right now is, I would say it hit me, I think, just like any of the other times that I had COVID. It was just as bad. And for me, someone who's 40, pretty decent immune system, it doesn't affect me that badly, but at the same time it'll hit me for an hour. The worst part of it, I think, was the nasal congestion, the sneezing. Ramba Lambda says the real disease is the mental disorder known as modern day liberalism. Clockwork Sky says, so many mask shills on here. Wow, flooded. God almighty help us. I live in Illinois and there are no mandates. Yep, that's true. Shared disaster. And everyone I know is getting sick again. It's all a psyop. Well, look, I mean, I just described getting the new COVID variant when I went out once. I think it's just going around. My friend in California said that her local hospital has started masking again. And I did see some tweets from a couple of states, their health officials, kind of like lowering the temperature, but still talking about how this new variant was out and that these respiratory infections were increasing. So maybe they're just trying to be responsible. By talking about an uptick without trying to create the same level of drama that we had before. Or alternatively, they could be trying to test out whether or not this would catch any steam online and some momentum to build into allowing any of the interference we saw previously. Because it is one of the main drivers that drove people to wake up. Here's Three's Wild. Everyone I see wearing a mask just looks broken, especially their eyes. Looks like they have the 1,000-yard stare. I don't know about that, but it does have 4 negative down votes. Whatever happened to Dig, by the way? Anyone know? I should pull up some Leo Laporte from Tech TV back in the day, talking about Dig. Right. Vote Robert F. Kennedy Jr. 2024. This is sufficient. Psychota 13. This is kind of a... I've never done these Reddits before. Why are y'all anti-mask exactly? Yep, going into stuff we can't talk about on here. Okay, alright, well, interesting. So, maybe they'll try and see if it picks up steam in hospitals and whether or not they can roll it out to other public spaces. But again, just to summarize what I wanted to quickly stream about, which is that Section 5, the last section in the 14th Amendment, reserves these rights for Congress and not states or individual state officials like Jenna Griswold or Sheena Bellows in Maine. And they'll try, and they're going to get swatted down by the U.S. Supreme Court here pretty quickly. I think they're going to make this part of the upfront prime piece of real estate in that decision. Likely in the first or second paragraph, they'll say the 14th Amendment, Section 5, and then they'll cite this language. Okay, all right. That's enough. Let you go. See you tomorrow morning. Bye.
Thanks for watching Command HQ with Brooke and Agent X.